The density of the woods, or the number of trees per acre, is something that's very important. Foresters need to know, be able to understand, to help them make good decisions about how to manage your woods. And foresters have a number of different ways of measuring density. You'll see them taking plots to determine the density of the woods. And we have certain tables and graphs that we use to help us make decisions on whether the woods needs to be thinned or not, whether the number of trees there for their given size is fine, whether they're too dense, and not allowing room for each individual tree to have enough growing space to spread its crown and grow vigorously, which is something we generally strive to do. So foresters will try to balance the number of trees in the woods and the density of the woods so that it's fully occupied with trees, at the same time allowing each individual tree plenty of room and growing space to develop its crown and be vigorous and grow. And we have a concept, it's called stocking. And this stocking measurement or concept helps determine whether the woods is understocked and needs to have more trees in it, or it's fully stocked with trees and growing fine, or if it's overstocked and too thick. And sometimes you'll see foresters use a table, and a lot of times we have them in field books that we have with us, and you'll see them refer to that. And we've got one here that we'll look at, and we've got here in large form so you can see it, okay? And this is a stocking chart, and it's a little bit confusing, but the concept is pretty simple. And foresters will take measurements in the field to determine the number of trees there are per acre and the average diameter of the trees. And by taking those two measurements, they'll be able to locate themselves on this chart to determine whether the woods is understocked or fully stocked, or it's overstocked and needs to be thinned. This chart also helps the forester determine how many trees to take out if it's too thick. So let's go have a look at a stand where we have taken the stocking measurement or the density measurement, and we have determined that there needs to be some trees removed, and we'll have a look at how we did that and what the woods looks like, or the forest looks like after that treatment. Well, here we're in a woods that has been thinned using a commercial harvest. The forester was in this woodlands, determined the number of trees per acre and their size, determined the stocking level of the woods, found out that it was overstocked with trees. In order to maintain good growth, long-term growth and development, this stand needed to be thinned. And in this case, the trees that needed to be removed because of the size of the stand were merchantable saw timber sized trees. And you can see here a stump from one of the trees that was taken out. This tree was economically mature, and they were able to cut that tree down, providing obviously income to the woodland owner. At the same time this harvest was done, though, it was done as part of a thinning. And there were a number of trees left in here that have potentially high value in them. And we can see right behind me a nice tall white oak that was left. And if you look up at that tree, you will see that that crown has plenty of space around it where it can expand itself and grow and continue to put on nice, rapid and growth. And so this is a case where a thinning was done with a commercial harvest, providing money to the landowner, and at the same time improving the growing conditions for the trees that remain. So the trees that remain here after this cut are going to be more vigorous. Overall, the woodlands is going to grow with a great deal of vigor. So it's a great way, in this case, to get some money out of the woods and do the right thing long-term for the productivity and sustainability of this woods. Well, we're standing in a 9-year-old clear cut. And as you can see, it's very dense. There's a large number of trees per acre. They're not very big, of course, because they're 9 years old, but the woods is very thick. And this is pretty typical of a lot of areas that you've had a regeneration treatment like a clear cut or a group opening where the regeneration is very dense. And at this point, the trees have now grown up, they're tall enough, they've started to create a canopy that's moved off the ground. That's allowed us to be able to walk through the woods. And this would be the first point in time where you would consider doing any management. And the first question that a forester is going to have is, what is the density of this stand of trees, or of the woods? And they're going to take measurements to determine the diameter of the trees and how many there are per acre, and they're going to make a determination of stocking, of whether this stand is understocked or fully stocked or overstocked. And oftentimes, when that analysis is done of these regenerating stands, they tend to be overstocked, and a thinning is called for. Now in this case, because the trees are so small, you're not going to be able to thin them with a commercial harvest. You're not going to be coming out and come in here with a harvest and cut trees this size. That's ridiculous. So in this case, the thinning would have to be done non-commercially, which means you're going to have to deaden these trees, remove them from the stand. That's going to cost some money. And of course, landowners can pay for that. And the idea is that the trees that are left have much more growing space. They're wide enough apart where they can spread their crowns and start to put good diameter growth, because the diameter growth rate of a tree is directly related to how big its crown is. So the bigger the crown of the tree, the faster it grows. And we're too dense here. The trees are too close together. Each individual tree doesn't have much growing space to make its crown. So the crowns are small, diameter growth is limited. So by thinning it out, it allows more growing space for the remaining trees. They grow faster, they're more vigorous, and they will grow in diameter at a much greater rate, usually 2 times what they're doing now. As I indicated before, this treatment's going to cost money. Now, fortunately, there are government programs that will offset the cost of a non-commercial or a pre-commercial treatment like this. And it's one that this stand that we're in now could definitely use. So density and stocking, again, is an important concept that you can use in older stands, and is very important in stands of this size and this age.